Hello, everybody, and welcome to 30 Minute Thrive, your go-to podcast for anything and everything HR, powered by MRA, the Management Association. Looking to stay on top of the ever-changing world of HR? MRA has got you covered. We'll be the first to tell you what's hot and what's not. I'm your host, Sophie Bowler, and we are so glad you're here. Now it's time to thrive. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of 30 Minute Thrive. I'm excited to introduce our topic for today, and that is There's Power in Belonging, Why DEI Matters. And I'm joined with Cory Holloway, Member Relations Manager in our Moline location, who is our expert in the episode today. So Cory is a motivated leader who has had the opportunity to lead multiple teams, and one as a field service manager, and was also a part of a grassroots DEI program at a Fortune 500 company. And through that, he was really able to gain knowledge and experience in the DEI space. And here at MRA, he's really helped our company move toward our DEI goals and uses his passion to help create a healthy and equitable work environment. So thanks for coming on the podcast today, Cory. I appreciate you sharing your knowledge and expertise.
Yeah, Sophie, I'm happy to be here. Excited for today's topics.
Yeah. Well, like I mentioned, the title of this episode is There's Power in Belonging, Why DEI Matters. So how about we start with kind of that big question, and why does DEI matter?
Yeah, it's a good question. Lots of people want to know, and there's some myths out there, and we'll address those a little bit later. But DEI matters because it creates a more equitable and just society. It's important to recognize that everyone has a unique background instead of experiences, and DEI ensures that everyone has equal opportunities to thrive and succeed regardless of their race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, or any other identity factor. DEI initiatives are essential for businesses because they enhance productivity and drive innovation. And by bringing together individuals with different backgrounds and perspectives, organizations can foster a more creative and innovative work culture that can lead to greater success.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And I feel like this is such a big question, so we could go on, but I like how you mentioned that it can help create like a healthier work environment, but it also increases company performance too. I know I was researching a little bit and I saw a cool stat that it said companies that exhibit gender and ethnic diversity are 15% or 35% more likely to outperform peers. So that just shows like, I don't know, the massive impact that DEI has on companies.
Absolutely. There's power in DEI, and we'll have some more stats later to discuss why it's important to embrace an inclusive culture.
Mm-hmm, for sure. Well, just moving on, I'm curious, what are a few ways DEI initiatives can improve organizational culture and productivity?
Absolutely. So DEI initiatives increase employee engagement. When employees feel valued and heard, they're more likely to be engaged in the work and the overall mission of the organization. DEI initiatives foster greater innovation and creativity. Diverse perspectives and experience can lead to more creative and innovative problem solving. DEI initiatives that encourage individuals to bring up unique perspectives to the table can help generate new ideas and approaches that benefits organization as a whole. So a few stats that I want to share with us today is that inclusive companies are 1.7 times more innovative. Mm-hmm. Companies that have inclusive cultures have 2.3 times more cash flow for employees, and diverse teams are 70% more likely to capture new markets. Wow. So yeah, absolutely. So the numbers show why having these diverse perspectives can really help a company grow their bottom lines. A couple of other ways is one, it improves teamwork and collaboration. DEI initiatives can build trust and respect among team members, and creating a more inclusive work environment. Employees are more likely to feel comfortable sharing ideas and collaborating with others. This can help generate teamwork and collaboration, which in return improves organizational culture. And lastly, it enhances the employer brand. Organizations that prioritize DEI can attract top talent, retain top talent, and become a positive reputation for that organization among key stakeholders.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Those are some powerful stats. And you just mentioned brand, an employee brand there, but they found kind of a powerful stat too on that, and it was that teams are 158% more likely to understand their target customers when they have at least one member who represents their own gender, race, sexual orientation, or culture. So that just shows how powerful that is too.
Absolutely. When you find ways to connect with your target audience, it's good to have somebody who grew up from that background so you know how you can best support and help out that community.
And relate to them. Yep, exactly. So, going off of that, what are some best practices for creating inclusive environments?
Yeah, so some best practices for creating inclusive environments would be establishing clear policies and procedures that promote DEI, providing education and training on DEI topics, create a safe space for employees to share their experiences and perspectives, and actively listening to employee feedback to understand and address any issues that arise. ERGs are a great place for employees to connect. ERGs provide a place for employees to share ideas, thoughts, and concerns. ERGs can also help out other departments within the organization help achieve their DEI-related goals and initiatives that they could have. And then ERGs provide a sense of community and belonging for employees.
Absolutely. I would just add too, best practices also include just like starting from the top with organizations. I mean, DEI has to be demonstrated by a company's leaders for employees to also feel that a company truly cares about and is involved with DEI.
Leadership for DEI initiatives, an ERG group, your DEI journey, you need that support from leadership. Without support from leadership, if it's just some separate thing that the organization thinks can just run and operates by itself, ERG groups, DEI initiatives tend to fail a lot of times. So you need someone who, you need your leadership to be on board and bought into DEI if we want to see the change that you're hoping to make within your organization.
Absolutely. So moving on then, what do you think is a key strategy to address biases in the workplace?
Yeah, that's the question I get often. So a key strategy to address biases in the workplace is to promote awareness and education around unconscious bias, right? By understanding that everyone has implicit biases, individuals and organizations could take steps to mitigate their impact on decision-making and foster a more equitable and inclusive work environment. Another way you can combat biases in the workplace, more specifically around hiring, would be to create diverse hiring panels and establish clear criteria for promotion and advancement within your organization, which can help mitigate the effects of biases in the workplace.
Yeah, that's all great advice. I recently took a MRA training and we talked about unconscious biases and how everybody has biases, even if you don't realize it. And that's kind of what an unconscious bias is. But the trainers had like great recommendations for good ways to fight those unconscious biases. And a lot of it was just being open to learning about each individual's background and culture and just getting to know each person for who they are and not just how you may see them. So yeah.
Absolutely. And once you know, you can act on it. If there's things you have that you don't know about that you're doing until it's addressed, but then once it's addressed, now the accountability piece kicks in and you can make the necessary changes you need to make to be a better individual or manager at work and just in general as a person.
Yeah. So what is your approach to dealing with discussions about potentially difficult DEI related topics at work?
Yeah. So this is a very good question because a lot of times people just don't know how to broach this subject with some folks, or there may be some myths that are out there that they don't understand. So my approach is to create a safe and respectful space for discussion and active listening for all participants, right? It's important to acknowledge that discussions about DEI topics can be uncomfortable and challenging, but it's necessary to have these conversations to create meaningful change. By approaching these conversations with empathy and willingness to listen, individuals can foster greater understanding and work towards creating a more inclusive work environment. I had a situation where I had some co-managers who really didn't understand why the organization was pursuing an authentic DEI journey. Again, with the myths out there about it, some negativeness that can be around DEI, I just gave them the space to talk and communicate. And I had to bring a different perspective of why these topics were important, and not only to me, but for the organization and where the organization was looking to grow and to grow. And then they were able to understand how this would impact their own teams and why embracing DEI can help them enhance their teams. And the more that each individual team was improving, the whole organization was improving as a whole.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's a great example. I've always also been taught to just like address the hesitancy in those conversations. Like you can say, these are difficult topics, but we're going to talk about. So just addressing that they are difficult and you're not kind of avoiding that awkward space,
So yeah, psychological safety is huge. They got to be able to know, like, I'm not going to be, bad things are going to be said about me, or I need a space to be able to share where I'm coming from and reach a point of understanding.
Mm-hmm. So kind of focusing onto the employee as an individual, what can they do to advocate for a diverse, equal, and inclusive culture at work?
So employees can advocate for a diverse, equitable culture at work by actively promoting DEI initiatives, such as ERG groups or diversity committees, right? Advocating for diverse hiring and promotion practices, speaking up when they see or experience discrimination or bias in the workplace. It's important to recognize that everyone has a role to play in creating a more equitable and just work environment, and individuals can make a significant impact by taking proactive steps to promote DEI. It's important for leadership, very important for leadership, to empower the employees to speak up for DEI initiatives or as issues arise. And going back to what we were saying earlier, leadership has to be on board. So when issues arise, employees can feel that support and know that they have that support from them.
For sure. Kind of following up to that question, how should employers be responding to their employees?
Yeah, employers should be responding very thoughtfully and very timely when issues arise, right? Employers should respond to their employees by actively listening to their concerns and feedback, taking action to address any issues that arise, and promoting a culture of openness and respect. By valuing and prioritizing employees' well-being and DEI, employers can create a more positive and productive work environment that benefits everyone. So I have a peer who runs an ERG group at a local organization, and he had one of his members say to him that he wants the organization to take care of a issue with the seriousness of how it affected him. Meaning that if something really impacts me as an employee, and if it's just a simple apology or if it's something that's put off for another time to take care of, stuff like that can lead to poor retention. It could lead to poor hiring because people talk. And if they go around and if you've had a bad experience and it's not addressed how it should be with the seriousness, they're going to share that with their friends and family, and that might not be an organization they want to work for. So it's important for employers to respond with the same level of seriousness as to act committed to that employee.
Absolutely. That's great advice. So what are some other opportunities for employees to be involved in DEI inside and outside of work?
Oh, the opportunities are out there. I mean, we have social media, we have people advertising ways to get involved, but inside of work, opportunities may include participating in an ERG group if it's available, attending DEI training and workshops, and advocating for diverse practices. And something else I like to recommend is reverse mentoring. And if you don't know what reverse mentoring is, it would be taking frontline employees and partner them up with a leader within the organization. And then they can give them insight of, hey, this is what my life is on a day-to-day basis. Here's some challenges that I face. And then for that leader who's in the room where decisions are happening, they can be an advocate for their employees to create a better working environment for everyone in the organization. And as far as outside of the organization, individuals can volunteer in DEI-focused organizations, attend community events and forums, and engage in advocating efforts to improve their community. And then I definitely want to leave the audience with this: is we can't change the world, but we can change our world. And the more that we have individuals changing the world around them, the bigger of the ripple effect it'll cause in our society as a whole.
That's great to end with, Cory. I love that. And I do, just as you were talking about resources and opportunities, I have to plug MRA too. I mean, we have so many resources to take advantage of regarding DEI. We have our annual DEI conference coming up later this year, webinars, guides, publications, surveys, results, and more. So definitely encourage you to go to our website, mranet.org, to check those out. But absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for being on 30 Minute Drive, Cory, and really sharing your expertise and passion for the topic. To our listeners, if you like the chat today, make sure to share this episode, leave a comment, review, and a rating, and consider joining MRA if you aren't a member already. We have all the resources you need in the show notes below, including Cory's bio and LinkedIn profile. So if you want to connect with him or have any follow-up questions for him, make sure to get connected with him too. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in today, and thanks again, Cory, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
And that wraps up our content for this episode. Be sure to reference the show notes where you can sign up to connect for more podcast updates. Check out other MRA episodes on your favorite podcast platform. And as always, make sure to follow MRA's 30 Minute Thrive so you don't miss out. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next Wednesday to carry on the HR conversation.